Having a great vibrato on the guitar is one technique that I think a lot of people overlook. It's something you should work on every day, even if you think you have it down pat, because having a great vibrato is going to make you sound more confident on stage, and it's going to impress people, I think, more so than just playing a lot of fast notes. So on the guitar, we have many different ways of getting a vibrato sound. They all sound different, they all have their own place, but basically you can boil them down into two groups. Does the pitch go down, or does the pitch go up? So for our first method of vibrato on the guitar, it's very simple. It's the most common and the most practical. It's just simply taking the string and bending it down on the fretboard and returning it to pitch. When you start doing this, you're going to make sure that you have a nice anchor on your thumb, on the neck. Your thumbs should not be moving. And also, I like to anchor my first knuckle here and then just rotate my entire wrist by turning it. When you practice this, you're going to want to practice it with all four fingers on your fretting hand and try and get a very consistent sound. Make sure you're not bending the note out of tune. And a good way to do this is to play a drone. Perhaps you're practicing on the note E. And just make sure that each time you vibrate the note very slowly, it returns back to pitch. Sometimes when you're practicing vibrato, it's good to introduce a little bit of overdrive or compression just so you get the note to last a little bit longer. You're going to want to start at first very slowly and then speed it up as you get better at it. As you're working on pulling the string down and getting a good vibrato that way, you're also going to want to work on pushing the string up on the fretboard, because on the B and E strings, if you pull down, it's going to pull the string right off. So you should be practicing pulling down and pushing up on the string. I like to practice it with all four fingers and try to make the vibrato sound as consistent as possible. For me, it's easier to get a nice vibrato by pulling down on the string than it is pushing up. So over the course of the last year, I've really been practicing this, and it's pretty much a piece of my practice routine every day. Now, if you talk to a lot of classical musicians, they're going to argue that pushing the pitch up in direction just makes the note sound out of tune. I kind of agree with this, although it's not exactly practical in the guitar in a lot of contexts, but there are methods of making the pitch go down. The easiest one is if you have a wham slam bar like this. And that works really well for chords. So that's our technique number 2. No use talking about that so much. To go on to technique number 3, this is also going to work with chords. This is something you can take from violinists or classical guitarists. The technique is pretty similar. So for this technique, start with just one finger again and mount it on a fret of your choosing. And instead of pulling down or up on the string, we're actually going to pull back and forward. Now on a violin, this works because they're pulling back on the string and their point of contact is going lower and lower, which means the pitch drops down and comes back up. On the guitar, it's actually happening in the opposite way. As you pull back, the string's getting tighter and it rises in pitch, and as you push forward, the string's getting looser and it's going to fall in pitch. And this allows you to get a vibrato that goes both down and up. I know some classical musicians, particularly in the wind instrument world, that argue that a good vibrato goes both above and below the pitch at equal distances and returns. So this is one way of achieving that on the guitar. You can play chords with this. It's very nice. For this type of vibrato, when you're starting it out, I actually don't keep my thumb on the back. You're going to want to start on the G string. This is the easiest with your first finger, I think. Just plop down a note and work on pulling it that way first and then pushing it back. And when you get to combine them, it sounds great. It sounds great for chords. It's a very subtle effect, but it's very pretty. It's one of my favorites. Really, the vibrato here is coming from your elbow, so your wrist shouldn't be moving much at all. So for technique number 4, this isn't something I can recommend too much since it actually bends the neck of the guitar, but that's basically the gist of it. Just take a chord and shake the guitar a little bit. You can hear as I pull back on the neck, it'll rise in pitch. And as I push forward, it'll drop in pitch. And this kind of gets the same effect as technique number 3. However, it might be destructive to your guitar in the long run. Someone you can check out online. He's great at it. His name's Andy. He works for Pro Guitar Shop, which has been bought by Reverb now. So you'll see him on old Pro Guitar Shop videos or newer Reverb videos where he'll play a chord and bend the whole neck of the guitar to get that same effect. The pitch goes up and down. So for our 5th and final technique, this is something I like to take from Motown musicians or current neo-soul musicians. It's something I call the squiggle, and basically you're taking a note, pushing it up to the next fret, and then pulling it back down very fast. You can do it on chords, you can do it on single notes. It's very simple. It can be a little bit hard to start doing at first. I like to anchor my thumb again so that I know where I'm coming back to. Keep that thumb in place and just shake your elbow a little bit. That's something I've been doing for years, and it's another one of my favorite methods. So there you have it, 5 different vibrato techniques. I hope it's helped you a little bit. If it did, leave a like down below. Leave me a comment letting me know which type of vibrato is your favorite. Hopefully it's helped you a bit. Maybe it's opened your eyes to different techniques. And thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.